No, I'm lucky, I think. Again, I'm across the board. Like, I'm so fortunate because going home, it's like I'm around family. Like, I get to live at home with my pops, which is kind of home base for the rest of the family. Whenever, my older brother and my sister, they both got kids, so they come and hang out all the time. My twin brother, like, we hang out all the time anyway, so, like, that's rad. It's like my girlfriend, she lives right across the street, so, like, it's crazy that... Yeah, it's crazy that I get to consistently look forward to things, to so much. Like, I think when you're in the shoes at times, people can lose themselves in the moment of like, oh, this might suck. Oh, we got this going on. That sucks. And it's like, realistically, no, it doesn't, because there's just things to look forward to.
Hey, what's up, Vox&Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. Hope you had a killer week. I most certainly did. This Vox&Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter. And trust me when I say this to you, if you are ever in Montreal and you're looking for an amazing metal show to go to, well, I can guarantee you that Heavy Montreal will have you covered. I'm beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast. Now, today on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be with Chad Topor. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox&Hops episode number 481.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up? Today I'm with Chad Topor. It's been a long time I'm wanting to do this episode. Chad Topor is a man of the world, someone that tours more than most of us. He is a merchandiser. He dabbles in tour managing, but mostly he's super fun and amazing and positive energy. I've been with him on tour as long as I've had this podcast going, and I've always wanted to have you on. It was a pandemic idea that just never panned through to do a Zoom with you. We are in a beautiful setting. Where are we, Chad?
We are in Revelstoke, which is in the Canadian Rockies, just outside of it, and holy...
We got a day off. We're at Mount Begbie Brewing, which was a suggestion from Brenton Melanson, Armstrong Metal Fest. He said you should definitely hit this place up if you are stopping in Revelstoke, and here we are. 6-minute Uber ride, taxi ride from the hotel. Did some podcast work this morning. You did some spreadsheet work. The guys wrote some riffs. We're hanging out. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's been a nice tour.
And thank you for having me on here. This is really rad. I'm glad that this finally happened after
so long. We've hung out so many times, and I'm always like, we need to do this episode, and then I get home and I'm like, we didn't do it, and I feel bad. So my guilt feels better, and it's just too beautiful not to do an episode here. Talk about your experience. Let's start off simple. We're at Mount Begbie. I'm waiting for our beers. We'll get into the beer shit in a bit. Your experience with the Canadian Rockies and this area, because it's spectacular what we're looking at.
I mean, my experiences with it is I've just been coming through on these tours and just... Luckily, if I'm up early enough, getting to watch us go through these absolutely scary but treacherous drives, but being some of the most beautiful drives
yeah,
I've
same
ever
thing
got
like
to do.
Washington, Portland, or it's the Rockies.
It's beautiful. Like, I mean, I'm from the East Coast, so we've got some mountains out there, and I definitely grew up going and hiking a lot with my dad and all my family and everything. So we got a taste of the mountains, but they are completely different out this way, like a whole nother game.
It feels like Switzerland.
It does.
It's interesting. It's beautiful.
Here in particular, it really, really does.
Gorgeous. One of those like moments where you walk outside the tour bus in the morning and you're like, wow. And then you turn to your right and you're like, wow.
You just get
you keep turning and you're like, wow.
You get a breath of fresh air the way you do, just like, oh,
360
we're here.
Amazingness.
Yeah, literally from and like degree and how many. So, like, just the weather alone, what we were in over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, like, at the beginning of this tour less than a week ago, and now we're, like, trying to bundle up.
I forgot to bring my jacket and scarf. I meant to bring to the bar. I had a plan. I brought the recording equipment, but not my jacket and scarf, which I brought out yesterday because it is going to be cold later. Talk about beer. We don't have a beer yet. We're going to get a beer soon. No smashing on the Mount Begbie service, but I pushed record early. Talk to me about your first beer. Do you remember your first experience with beer? I remember I imagine it's a Boston thing that happened at a party, or
Yeah, I mean,
sneaking something from your dad. Or...
definitely. I feel like it was definitely something along those lines where when I was young, sneaking my first sip off of like some kind of wounded soldier that was hanging around.
Some party in the house.
Yeah, like and not that my parents they rarely partied, but
my parents never drank.
My parents
they could care
never
fucking
drank.
less.
Yeah, same thing. But occasionally they would be around it. Like, I mean, my other family members, you know, they definitely like to
Christmas,
get a little loose. Yeah, holidays.
Wounded soldiers.
And I can remember I had like trying my first beer, and I did not care for it.
No,
I did not care for it whatsoever.
Was there ever a moment where it became more for you? Because having toured with you for the past, I first met Chad. I guess we should give a preface on this. Is 2016, the Cannibal Corpse tour, Obituary. We were in the same bus. You were doing merch for Obituary.
Yep.
And I was doing merch with our sound guy, and I was like, oh my God, I wish I had a Chad. And since then, I've had a Chad, and
you got
he's
a Chad now. It's all right.
But you've never been like a beer guy. You're more of a cannabis type.
Oh, I definitely am much more into the greens.
What was that? Do you remember your first experience with that and how that affected you more deeply than the beer?
Yeah. I mean, geez, I was pretty young when that happened as well. But that in particular, I can remember just being around a lot of good people and like it not being like a pressure thing and like nobody really like I had a lot of good friends, so like nobody cared in an essence like what you did or what you didn't do. And then, but it did dawn on me at one point. I was like, you know, I kind of want to try this. So me and a bunch of things.
How easy was that? You're a twin. I know a lot about you. So, was it you and your brother that at that same time you have an older sibling?
Yep.
This is a plural.
Yep.
How easy was it? Like just one of the twins doing something, or was it both twins that had to do something?
Well, I guess growing up, we did a ton of things together. But I think when we got to that age, that like we started, I guess. Finding more of our own interests and things like there was somewhat of a separation, but it was for
it must have been hard
things.
For you guys like as individuals to like craft out and find your own
in a way
paths and identities. There's the twins. I imagine the family always called the twin. I have twins in my wife's extended family, so
yeah,
I think of them as one unit. But eventually, they're going to be two separate people,
right? And I think in an earlier age too. Like I was super into like. I guess more of the alternative lifestyles that like
than your brother.
Because my parents were super into tattooing long before it was illegal in Massachusetts and everything. So
it's crazy. At a time, it was illegal in Massachusetts.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so, like, with them being into tattooing and art, my dad being super into music, like, we were already kind of following that path, but I was already going much more into, I like the weirder stuff and started dressing stranger at an earlier age. So there was
the
definitely
cold chamber
separation.
haircut. I've seen the pictures.
I think I had my first mohawk or something when I was like 8.
The Meigs cut?
Yeah, I had the Meigs do for years. And it was funny.
We totally would have been friends back then.
Oh, dude. And it's funny because I did it long before I knew who Cold Chamber was, and then cut it off, and then like I ended up like a few years later wanting to do it again, and then I found out who the band was. I was like, these are my people, and
they don't exist. This is not real. And it was social media entities.
So funny. But yeah, they were always dyed some kind of wacky color and thrown back and dyeing my hockey helmet some kind of color.
She just forgot to bring us beers. Chris, can you deliver us 2 hazies, please? Chris Donaldson is going to serve us because Matt Begbie is
Chris has become our server for the day. This is
Matt Begbie.
This is amazing.
Matt Begbie, you're going to listen to this episode and you're going to regret the decisions that have happened.
Well, cheers, brother.
Cheers. I don't know what's going on. We'll find out. This is their hazy. We just got their beer. Served to us from Christian Donaldson from Cryptopsy. It is called the Full Send. It is a hazy IPA. They say it's juicy tropical citrus bomb with cryogenically. Is that no? Concentrated hops. Oh, the cryo hops. Okay. Thank you, Yakima Chief Hops, for the cryo hops in this. Cheers to hanging out. Yeah.
Yes.
It's wet.
That is delicious.
No, it's pretty good.
I like that.
We're not far from the hotel. We piled into that. Shout out to Tuna who drove us here.
Shout out to Tuna.
We all fit.
He let us squeeze in his can.
This is what we do. This is me and Chad. There's something reassuring. You have a hard job. Talk to me about that. You worked in production in Worcester. In Worcester. At the Palladium.
Yep, I've done that.
You got into that earlier.
Actually, well, I ended up doing that a little bit later.
You toured first?
Yeah, actually, my first crack into doing production at all was I just kind of fallen out of working at Blockbuster. I was like I loved the gig, but something weird got with the manager.
I could see you working at Blockbuster.
Oh, I was totally there. I loved it.
I would take your recommendations.
I found a lot of good stuff there. But then just so happened my dad was like, hey, they're doing a job fair down at the arena in town, and he's like, I just went and applied, and I was like, well, let's do it, because I tried going to school for all this. Like I wanted to go to school for audio engineering out of high school, but I just couldn't get the money to go and couldn't get any other funding. So I was like, well, let's see what happens. And so I went down, and I thought I was doing the stagehand gig initially, but it turns out it was setup crew, which is kind of like the step below in a way, like where we are doing all the changeovers and getting things ready for the stagehands to come in.
So it's a massive learning experiment, though.
That's exactly
if
how
you're going to come in and
it.
start with something, like you're going to learning from the ground up.
And immediately came in my head as that, like this was a ground up experience, and
you have an ego and be like, this is beneath me, but you didn't.
Oh,
you
no
chose
way.
to accept that and learn from it, which is very important. People listen to shit. It's like, you want to work in the industry, you got to eat shit first.
Yeah, and it was an education from a place that was willing to give one. So why not soak it up as much as you can?
Yeah,
and I was
the
lucky for that.
It's an iconic place,
and that was the thing. Growing up there, that was always a place, like, I think realistically I always wanted to be. So then fast forward a few years later, I ended up getting the opportunity to tour. I ended up working at another production company, doing like mobile stages and doing
big gigs, like semi-trailers full of gear type.
It wasn't as big. It was actually a smaller production company, but they had a lot of equipment. But we run a small crew and, go all over the country doing like zombie 5K races and like Miss America pageants.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of cool. But then on the off time from that, I was building road cases in their warehouse, and because they were also a road case shop, and gained a bunch of experience there, and and then after that gig was when I actually went down to Palladium.
What's cool is that you're really punk rock, but you end up working in the death metal world a lot, because I know you're from Obituary, and that's because of Robin Mays, and I know that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Robin.
Love you, Mama.
She's one of the best out there. Talk to me about that divide between punk rock and death metal, and what that vibe difference is. Is there one? I don't know.
I mean, it's weird. I guess realistically, on the band side of it, it might come out more musically, but I guess personality-wise,
I think
there's
we're all the
not
same.
a ton of a difference. I think like ultimately, everybody's that's playing in these bands, they're ultimately fans, ultimate fans. Like probably even more so sometimes.
We were at a bar last night and Bad Religion came on, and Flo was like, I like this song.
Yes.
There's one thing I like is this old school punk rock, he said.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think the hang-ups come a little bit more so within the fans, where they kind of almost want to categorize and subgenre bands so much more so that kind of in a way almost pigeonholes their tastes and their interests, where I think if people had a little bit less hang-ups of that, there would be a lot more similarities, at least in the crowd, because I don't see a ton amongst everybody. Like there's a lot of similarities between all the different scenes, like hardcore as well. Like I grew up in the hardcore scene, so being involved, like growing up in that, doing shows in the hardcore scene, and then moving over into the punk world and get my teeth cut on the road, then moving over to metal, it's just been a mishmash of everything I love, but all the people I love too.
You are on tour more than anyone else. The road crew are like that.
Yeah.
Was there a moment of your life where you realized this is it? This is my job now. Where like it just kept working. And then I came to a realization last year that I had to make life-altering changes because we were going to be busy for the next 10 years. It's working.
Right.
What is your realization that this is what it's going to be? I'm going to be a road dog.
I guess it's weird, but I guess it came kind of early on, but I had to keep pinching myself about it because I almost had that imposter syndrome about it. Like, is this real? Like,
because you're a musician at the heart. You're a good singer. I know you're a good singer. I'm sure you can play some instruments.
Yeah, well, I've always been a guitarist in bands and stuff, and I am sitting on
I've
a ton
heard some
of material,
projects that you've showed me in the past.
But none of that's ever been able to come to real fruition. So I think that's
because you're always on the
part
road.
of why
so
it's
it's
the
my
imposter
fault
syndrome.
that you're not doing anything.
It's actually it's weird enough, but I just have never realistically been able to find a ton of people that had the same ideas. Like, I've got a homie at home.
You need like a super group with all the people around you.
I wish. I mean,
where you're not at the merch. I would still make you do the merch.
I'd still do it. You know, somebody's got.
Someone's got to keep those numbers straight.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I mean, that's all stuff that I would still love to do. But the fact that it's turned into something else, where now this is like I'm getting offered that opportunity to do things like bounce around the different genres and the different scenes and work with so many of the people that I've got to work with. It's outrageous to me.
Good crew are hard to come by. A lot of people just want to party and have fun and are not reliable. And there's a healthy balance between everything I just mentioned and doing your job correctly. That is a perfect crew member, which you hit a lot of those markers. Like, you're fun to be around. You're always positive. You party a bit, but when the time to work is there, you're on the ball. There's never a moment I have to tell you what to do.
No, well, I love the work.
I can imagine you not liking being told what to do.
I mean, no, I don't mind being told what to do. But the thing is I guess realistically, I like more working with people that want to work together.
Hell, fuck it.
And in this atmosphere, I've been able to find that far more than most other ones. Where there's a cohesiveness to this.
I don't even have to whisper anything. You know what to do. It's amazing. I just want to give you water and make sure that you're happy and you got your buyout. And if I could buy you a pizza because I'm going to a pizza joint after, and it makes me very happy.
Which is honestly also another one of those things. That's why I think it works and is such a warming atmosphere to be in, because you have people that really care about who you are and what you're doing, and like, because it all comes back, I think, in a big way.
There must be situations where it's not like that, and that's not as fun, or it's just a gig. I feel like you're so well liked within the communities that you're involved in that you don't have to just take a gig to get by.
I've been crazy lucky with that. Like, I think there was a time where I was taking anything I could get, and I guess, before I thought that this was what I do.
This is it.
Because again, it's crazy, but like, I guess this month makes 15 years
of doing merch.
TMing and doing merch. And,
wow.
And even longer of like working on other ends of production and being and playing in bands and all that. So it's like, I guess at one point it dawned on me, like, this is taken up most of my life.
It's your identity.
Most of my thoughts ever since I was young. So it's pretty rad. It's pretty crazy.
We're selling merch, slinging cotton. We got skateboards on this run. By the time this comes out, this run's done, but it's okay. You could have bought them from Chad, but
I got them. I'm hanging out. Just gotta come through.
I like making beers. It's one of my favorite things to do. Actually, I don't make them. People make them for me. But with my ideas and my branding, what would be the perfect Chad idea?
The perfect Chad idea?
Like a strain of weed or something. It's like the perfect Chad collab.
I mean, I guess for...
What would be your strain of weed? I don't know. What is your perfect...
I guess mine would be...
The bunk snakes. The vipers. The
bunk vipers.
Be a bunk viper. A bunk viper is when someone's dirty cum sock slides down their bunk and falls into yours.
Bunk, and you got to avoid them because
these bunks suck on this
poisonous.
bus. This whole bus sucks. I'm saying it out loud.
They're filled with venom.
I'm not into this bus, but my bunk is too narrow. I don't like it. I'm saying it on the podcast.
It's crazy. I mean, that's something I actually love too. Is like, you never really know. It's such a mixed bag with what you're going to get going out, whether it be in a tour bus or a van or when you go to Europe, bandwagon. It's like you never really
Somehow
know.
The bandwagon, as much as they're not comfortable, the bunks are better.
The bunks are massive on those, which is actually surprising.
They're just not comfortable because they bounce around.
Because you need the room so that you don't hit the ceiling.
Dude, on this bus, the ceiling is I got 2 inches off my fingers, and there's a light above my. Dude, I'm not into my bunk. I'm not in love with my bunk on this tour. I'm in love with you and my crew and my boys, but I'm not in love with my bunk.
Have you made a bunk viper? Have you made love?
I have not masturbated on this tour. We're a weekend. I have not masturbated yet.
You? That's grim.
Yeah, at least Pornhub works in Canada. We should.
But you know what? Not in Texas.
No, it doesn't work in most of the states. In the last one.
No, a lot of the southern ones.
They fixed
now.
it. Okay.
No, a lot of the southern ones. It's like 3 or 4 of the southern ones or something. It's like
you just can't beat your meat.
It's so strange. Thanks. This all started with you,
okay,
Tipper Gore. Thanks, Tipper Gore.
So. Back to the collab question.
I guess let me think. I guess it would have to be a heavy sativa because I really enjoy the activeness and the creativeness and the energy and just
But
staying
not
awake.
indica's too heavy.
I like indica. I like indica a lot.
Late at night.
But I guess for sativa, I never really find ones that are like the gassy, fuely, pungent, skunky that I like.
Which falls into the indica.
Yeah, much more of the indica family. Yeah.
The hoppy.
Yes, actually, and that's one of the things why I like the IPAs.
The
so much.
IPAs. Yeah. This is pretty
hoppy.
actually. The man Begbie, thank you.
Yeah, this is great.
The ambience is beautiful. It's like Peru beautiful.
It's like literally I could see somebody painting over there, painting the little purple shed with the nice yellow house and then the leaves changing on every side.
Next level
this is
Canadian beauty.
This is some Rockwell stuff, some Norman Rockwell shit.
Where can people find Chad? What is Chad? Like if they want to book you, you're booked. You're with me.
I'm booked a lot, but actually currently right now I don't really have a ton going on. I'm kind of going home after this tour. I know Descendants got some things going on in South America.
If you've bought a shirt from the Descendants, you've bought it from Chad. If you bought a shirt from Wilhelm Scream, you've bought it from Chad. Chad's been. I love being around and like just seeing people come through, and I'm like, Chad's holding that.
It's funny. I love seeing that, even from like strangers in the airport. I'll like walk by and be like, "Oh, I think I did that to you. I dudded you out, dog. You don't even know."
Hell fucking yes. Small projects. What about being home? Is that something that the fact that you're gone so much, is it weird being home?
No, I'm lucky. I think, again, I'm across the board. Like, I'm so fortunate because going home, it's like I'm around family.
Your family, your brother.
Like, I get to live at home with my pops, which is kind of home base for the rest of the family. Whenever, my older brother and my sister, they both got kids, so they come and hang out all the time. My twin brother, like, we hang out all the time anyway, so, like, that's rad. It's like my girlfriend, she lives right across the street, so, like, it's crazy.
You're gonna have a good time home.
Yeah, it's crazy that I get to consistently look forward to things to so much. Like, I think when you're in the shoes at times, people can lose themselves in the moment of like, oh, this might suck. Oh, we got this going on. That sucks. And it's like, realistically, no, it doesn't, because there's just things to look forward to.
Dude, and that's the best explanation of friendship. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we get the best display of true friendship because we disappear.
Yep, disappear. It could be for
and then we pop back in,
time.
and then like, are you available? Oh, I'm not available. Like I have certain friends that they write me monthly, and I'm like, oh no, like. Shout out to Tina. I love you, Tina. But I make time for her, but it's and then you see them, they're not pissed. It's like touring. It's I feel like no one understands us better than us. Like,
yeah, one of my best friends at home, Nick Jackson. It's like, that dude, I can hit up anytime. Chris Phillips, same thing, hit up anytime. It's like literally nothing.
You pop in,
no time,
hang out as if nothing changed.
Yep, and then it's just like, what have you been up to?
Yeah, that's what we do on tour.
Catch up.
That's it.
I love it.
We see each other first day, we hug each other, and that's it. Next,
it's just gone. It's just on. It's like no days have changed.
Chad takes good care of us out here. He's always well stocked in the pharmaceuticals. He's full of smiles. It makes me very happy always to be with him. I'm happy that I sat down with him at Mount Begbie, where we're drinking beers. We're going to keep hanging out, but not with you guys listening. I need one last question. I know it doesn't happen to you very often. It happens to me, hopefully not again on this tour, maybe not tomorrow. It happened a few days ago after the last day off. What is your hangover cure?
Oh my goodness, I am the worst.
You don't get hungover.
Whoa, that's because I don't drink very often. But that's part of the reason why is because I get the worst hangovers, and I'm such a baby.
You're so good though. You wake up so early on tour. I'll wake up and I'll be like, "Where can I poop, Chad?"
Yeah, and I'll be like,
"I've already pooped there, and I've pooped there. I've smoked here."
But I guess that's what it would be. I think I need water. Breakfast,
safe poop spot.
A good poop, and then a joint usually.
Yeah,
and
more
then like
sleep,
a little bit more, but I guess it depends on what I'm really doing. Like if I've got things to do and I got to go, it's like there's no time for that. You just got to ibuprofen up and
ibuprofen works. And a little bit of a smoke and a sleep helps.
And just really kick yourself in the ass and try not to be a bitch about it. Because man, I could be because I'm a bad one.
When Flo's not bitching after all he's drinking.
Shout out to 70,000 tons.
Yeah, we can talk about that. You did a lot there.
Oh, well, yeah, that's actually, I mean, I love doing stuff there. Robin,
That's basically
again,
how you
team
got
leader.
Robin and the obituary thing.
Well, I actually met Robin through John Anderson. Because we were actually on a tour
That's King
together.
Diamond, no?
Yeah, John and Robin were doing King Diamond on Mayhem Fest, and I was working for.
That's like
an
how
Australian
many
band.
sellers?
Well, every band kind of had their own, except because there was 2 stages. So we were on the second stage, and so everybody on the second stage had their own cellar. But then there was King had his own tent out there. But then basically like Slayer and all the other headliners like were festival style or amphitheater style cells. So they had a couple spots for them.
Wow.
But John and Robin were doing the booth for King Diamond, and that's how I initially
Is John still
met
running
him.
merch now?
Oh yeah, he's dealt with I want to say Whitechapel currently.
Okay, that Lorna
he did
Shore
a
run.
Monomarth forever. Yeah, that's right, on the Lorna Shore run. Yep, and yeah, he's still out there crushing.
He's a big
it.
boy.
Love John.
He's doing good. Yeah.
He actually he came out to the Descendant show and whipped a bass pick at me from literally across the room and hit me right in the bridge of the nose. Perfect. Loved it.
This is how you have to interact with Chad when you're seeing people.
Yeah, I'm from New England. You got to like call me mean things, and I'll consider
Makes
it
you love you more. So from that to Robin, the merch game. It's. Have you done that? Are there people in the game that you've personally put there?
There's one person in particular like I've really been able to help out, and I guess I say really, I got him the tour. He was Josh Richardson.
I got him. He's a cool dude.
Dude,
man.
he's one of my favorite people.
Is it Begat the Nephilim?
Yeah,
Is that his name?
Begat
Yeah,
the Nephilim's his band.
He's
Yeah,
a drummer.
They're actually going to be going off on tour.
He's
soon with
the
them.
drum tech for Obituary. He's. I saw pictures of him. I think
And
this
stage
morning.
managing now as well. Like because they're in Worcester. I'm so jealous. He came through the Palladium as a stagehand when I was doing some work down there, and I'd seen him for years because Begat's been a thing forever now, and I loved him. Right off the bat, I loved him, and was like, "You need to come out." And it just so happened that Donald hit me up and needed somebody, and I was like, "This dude's the dude."
And they just take.
And he's taken off with it.
Yeah.
He's taken
If
off
he's not
with it in
out
such
with
a regard
Obituary,
that
he's out with other people.
I'm like, I could be jealous of you, but I'm not. I'm just so happy.
Good. I'm happy that you come out with us, nonetheless, as big as you could be. We talked about that a bit earlier in the hotel room today.
Well, I feel like
the hangs
this
make
is my
it
place.
worth it. Yeah.
I think I've been able to do a lot of cool shit, but I think I know kind of where
just
a lot
having
more
you out
so
makes
my people
the
are.
biggest difference in my life and the band's life, and we appreciate how friendly you are with the fans, how viperous you are with people that are not cool with us.
Okay, I was going to say, hopefully not with the socks. Vipers with the socks. But yeah, no, I mean, you guys take care of me, so I can only hopefully return the favor as much as I possibly can for as long as I can.
As long as he can blast, I'll have you around if you want to be here.
Oh, I'm
We're
always
going to keep
down.
hanging out, but not with you guys listening. Thank you, Chad.
No,
This
thank
is
you,
wonderful.
brother. I'm really
long
glad
overdue.
you got to do this, man.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right today. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, do I ever love Chad. It is such an amazing experience to work with someone as professional as him, as fun as him, as just all around amazing as him. He is always just a ray of light. I love waking up in the morning and seeing his cute little face. I just love him to death. I cannot wait to hang out with him real soon. Loads of love to you, Chad. And trust me, people, if you go to a gig and you notice that Chad is behind that merch table, you go up and you tell him that I say hi if I don't get the chance to see him before you do. And if he is there, make sure you tip him real well, because he's worth every single cent that you will give him. He is just the best. Massive, massive love to you, Chad. I can't wait to hang out soon. The Vox&Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back next week with another episode on Thursday, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.